Yeah, so what's really interesting is that contextual has been around for a very long time. I used to view it as being what you have if you don't have good data. What can you rely on? But it has come so far and is such an important topic for our industry right now. And contextual now has new meaning because we have these really high-powered signals of what somebody is watching or doing right now in this moment. And our ability to insert advertising and brands into that moment makes it so much more powerful and so much more relevant for a consumer, and then also for a brand, because they've really nailed that connection between what a customer was doing, a consumer was doing, and how the brand becomes part of it.
So, Kristi, the idea of commerce media is often attached to performance primarily, but there's also an idea of connecting brand storytelling in order to drive real consumer action. How does that work, and what's your perception of it?
Yeah, so what we're seeing right now is just the ability to make retail media and commerce media more full funnel in terms of how it can build brands, and you build brands through telling really powerful stories, but also by allowing brands to show up at the right moments so that it shows that a brand understands what a consumer wants or is doing. So the storytelling that goes along with that is really powerful. The other thing that we're doing is that we're really leaning into creating richer content experiences. Some of that is through Journey TV, which is kind of a video screen capability that we have in our Uber vehicles that ties very closely to what journey you're on, where you're going, and we tell stories through that screen, so it's full video capability. And then we also have Creative Studio that is creating these really interesting digital physical experiences for our users. And what we're seeing from Gen Uber, which is what we call the people who use our platform, we're seeing that they make decisions in a split second based on the digital information that they're being fed, so that they can get out into the physical world and really enjoy, some kind of experience. And so we're doing a lot of work in terms of kind of blending that. They book a car, then they get picked up, they get taken to an event. There might be some kind of sample that's in the car, and then when they get to the event, there'll be another extension of a brand at that event. So this blending of, kind of what they want to get done from a digital perspective in creating these beautiful experiences is a big piece of our proposition.
Another big piece of your proposition is the role of first-party data, which has, along with the ascendance of commerce media, has become so important for brands. What's the biggest shift you're seeing in the ways that brands use that first-party data particularly to understand and influence shopper behavior?
I'll say probably the biggest shift that I've seen is that brands have gotten to the place where they're much more open to just understand how to do data collaboration instead of trying to acquire people's data. And by that I mean other companies' data. And so there's much more happening in these collaboration platforms. LiveRamp is an easy example. That's a company that we do work with, but a lot of the industry does. And through those data collaborations, then we can do more in terms of audiences that we can co-create, as well as measurement that we can enable through kind of these collaboration platforms. So I think the biggest piece was that we stopped trying to own data and, conquer, command and control data. And we're now really in a much better place in terms of collaboration, so that not only can the companies benefit through the collaboration and drive their growth, but more importantly, so that consumers are now able to receive advertising and offers that are more relevant.
Kristi, going from trying to conquer data to that idea of collaboration has also helped sweep in new forms of digital experiences and allowed them to merge and mix and match. So with that in mind, what's driving creativity and how campaigns are activated now?
Yeah, one of the greatest assets that we have right now is the way that AI can allow us to actually create more creative assets. And one of the things we all know is that the more executional choices you have, the more creative assets in a pool that you have, the greater your results, because you can find the ones that resonate best with that specific customer. So the breadth of assets that we have has grown exponentially because AI allows us just to publish more than humans could. So that's incredibly helpful. The other piece, though, is now that we have a better understanding of when consumers want price an item, a promotion, some kind of directive, or a high-touch brand engagement. And at Uber in particular, we're able to bring that full breadth of messaging to a consumer. It's really powerful, but for retail media in general too, you see people leaning into influencer programs. There's a lot of video that they're putting out. Video content on websites is incredibly high performing. So there's a lot of push toward, just in general, getting away from just price an item, creative assets, and really building things that are more engaging.
Kristi, I want to stay with the idea of how AI is helping to promote greater understanding of why consumers do what they do and how to move them along. How is AI or how is predictive intelligence as a subset of that changing the way you identify and act on purchase intent?
Yeah, again, I think at Uber we're a little bit ahead of the curve because we are a platform of signals, and it's signals of people doing something right now, and that is incredibly powerful. AI is only going to enable that exponentially. And some of the conversations that we've had here at Beet Retreat around some of the newer companies that are out now that are you identifying content that someone is watching, like piece by piece, metabyte by metabyte, and the fact that we can now use AI to interpret if this is what they're watching, the contextual environment, emotionally, kind of what they're going through and what they're viewing, and now we can create on-the-fly ads that is relevant to that moment. We're headed towards something that's really interesting. There's a lot to build around the infrastructure to be able to do that, but we're already seeing the power of our signals, and a lot of what we're focused on is bringing meaning to the signals that we have so that brands understand the advantage to experimenting with them and leveraging them to drive relevancy.
Lastly, Kristi, I want to ask you to put on your therapist hat for a minute and ask you what advice you have for brands looking to unlock the full power of commerce media without overwhelming their consumers. There's always a difficulty finding that line, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there really is. And commerce media can be so powerful because, again, you're helping a consumer execute an idea, a dream, a journey, a mission, a cause. You're really helping them execute that, and I think commerce media has so much potential. And even if you think of all of the social communities that exist where people are talking about projects that they're doing, insert commerce media into that, and it can just be like, hey, your local hardware store can deliver the 3 things you need to fix the drain that you're chatting with everybody about. So there's such a great opportunity for commerce media to just complete projects for people so that they can then move on to the next thing, the next conversation, maybe go outside and play. It really is, I think, an unlock for things that we used to have to spend a day running around with errands and things like that. Like, we can make it instantaneous, and commerce media has the ability to be a solution and to, and also just to help people get stuff done. And so I think it's going to become more and more powerful.